With that being said, let's continue on in football. We're going to start with some college football bowl projections. We have along with us in studio for the first time this evening, Mr. Clay Stanifer, our new program director here at the radio stations at Sigmund Communications. Clay, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Clay's going to sit down, as we said, and predict some of these bowl games. He knows a little bit about sports. Being a University of Tennessee graduate, he'll have some insight when it comes to the Southeastern Conference. He says he knows a lot more about these smaller schools, Scott. We'll test him on that.
Well, that's good because I don't know a whole lot about these smaller schools. So.
Well, let's start. The first bowl game is December the 20th at 11 a.m. is the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Nevada takes on Louisiana.
Just the Raging Cajuns. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I can't get it out, though. So,
Louisiana Lafayette.
The Lafayette. Scott, if you want to kick us off on this one, who are you going to take?
I'm going to go with the Colin Kaepernick. I know he's having a tough time, but I think his alma mater takes this one, Nevada.
Scott's going to take Nevada. I'm going to take Louisiana Lafayette. They're essentially at home.
Mm-hmm.
Clay?
This is a home game for Lafayette, but I think Nevada's got too good of an offense to be stopped. I'm taking Nevada.
All right, so I'm the lone one on that one. Also on December 20th at 2:20, it's the Gildan New Mexico Bowl, Utah State versus UTEP.
Well, you know what? I can't even claim to know anything about either of these teams, but I'm going to go with UTEP.
I'm going to go Utah State. I like what they do on offense, so I'm going to take the Aggies.
I'm going to go on with Utah State as well. They got a bunch of seniors on that team.
I'm going to ask you to scoot into the mic just a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to go with Utah State on this one.
Okay. Also on December the 20th, 3:30 Eastern kickoff, Royal Purple Las Vegas Bowl. Utah takes on Colorado State without their head coach.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big loss to that team. I'm going to go with Utah on this one.
You essentially have a team without a coach taking on a Pac-12 school, but it's the Las Vegas Bowl. I feel lucky. Colorado State is the team I'm going to take there.
I'm going to take Utah on this one.
Wow. We still not went completely across the board yet.
Nope.
December 20th, 5:45 Eastern, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl has Western Michigan taking on Air Force.
Without question, my favorite name for a bowl.
Oh, we're getting to mine later, but...
And I'm going to go with Air Force in this one.
I'm going to go with Western Michigan.
I got Air Force in this one.
Wow, I am taking a lot of.
You're either going to do really well in this, or you're going to do.
We all know I'm going to do very awful in this. To finish off, Saturday, December the 20th, 9:15, the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. Sure. South Alabama, the Jaguars in the bowl game for the first time in school history. They take on Bowling Green.
And I don't think it's going to be a good visit for the Jaguars, or a good opening debut. Let's go with Bowling Green.
I'm taking South Alabama because they're playing in Montgomery, Alabama, so I'll take the Jaguars.
I'm taking Bowling Green. I feel like they really brought it on at the end of the year.
Wow, so we've only predicted 5 games, and I feel like the lone bird here.
You're the Lone Ranger over there.
All right. We move on, December the 22nd, 2 p.m. It's the Miami Beach Bowl, BYU versus Memphis.
This sounds like it would be, if you're not in one of the major bowls, one of the most fun bowls to go to be invited to. I'm going to go with I think BYU is going to be really out of their element there, but I'm going to go with BYU to take this one.
Memphis is a hot team. I take the Tigers.
I'm going to have to go with Memphis on this one.
Hey, somebody actually agreed with me. The next day, December the 23rd, 6 p.m., the Boca Raton Bowl, Marshall versus Northern Illinois.
This is an interesting one. Two teams that over the past couple seasons really have not gotten any respect nationally. I think Marshall comes out on top of this one, though.
You know, Marshall's had a tough time the past 2 games stopping teams, and for that reason alone, I take Northern Illinois in this one.
I actually watched the last game Marshall played, and they had some tough breaks, as you said. But I feel like they really showed up the haters on this one. I feel like Marshall does it.
All right. So, once again, I'm the only person taking Northern Illinois. Should point out, our Director of Operations here, Tony Spinoza, Marshall graduate, is going to go to this bowl game. Now, here's my favorite bowl game title of all time. It's December the 23rd at 9:30 p.m. kickoff. The San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl. Navy takes on San Diego State.
That is a mouthful. I like this San Diego team, but I'm going to pick Navy just exclusively because Keenan Reynolds is a Nashville boy. He went to Good Pasture right down the road from me, so I'm going to go with Navy.
San Diego State's essentially playing in their hometown. They're almost right on campus. It doesn't feel like a bowl game to them. Navy beats San Diego State.
Oh,
I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with the option team. I'm going to go with Navy.
There we go. Our first consensus.
There we go. On Christmas Eve at noon, the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl. Fresno State takes on Central Michigan, Western Kentucky. I looked ahead. The Popeyes Bahamas Bowl has Central Michigan and Western Kentucky.
And this one is actually, never mind. Let me retract my statement about the Miami Beach Bowl. This one's in Nassau, Bahamas.
This would be the one to go to.
This would be the one to go to, I think. And then, or maybe even our next one. There's a lot of good ones that would be, but this one would be right up there. I'm going to go with Central Michigan.
I think Western Kentucky had a great game against Marshall, but that's going to be the only game they're going to have on their schedule. They're going to look back at Central Michigan. The Chippewas win this one.
I'm going to have to go with Central Michigan as well, guys.
Also on Christmas Eve, this one's at 8 o'clock Eastern. The Hawaii Bowl has Fresno State against Rice.
You know what? I don't know anything about this Rice team. So I'm going to go with Fresno State for that reason alone.
Fresno State was horrible in their conference. Probably should not have been in the conference championship. They barely got bowl eligible. I'll take Rice in this one.
Here's the theory. I don't know anything about either of the two of these teams, but I do know that Fresno has flown out to Hawaii to play Hawaii because they used to be in the same conference a lot. So I'm going to go with Fresno State in this one.
Okay. On December the 26th, there are no Christmas bowl games this year. It's a little odd.
How do you feel about that? No good, right?
The Hawaii Bowl used to be on Christmas, and I think I kind of liked it, but at the same time, do we really pay attention to sporting events more on Christmas? Because we're so busy trying to get everywhere and do everything with the families.
Well, let me tell you this, Adam.
Okay.
And I've been known to in a lot of ways, let's call it silently protest this massive number of bowls that we've got here.
Yes.
I will not be watching any of the bowls that we have picked yet.
Okay.
Not a second of one of them.
I might watch a couple minutes of some of these.
Which one of the? Okay, I know I'm stopping us right in the middle, but which one of the bowls have we named so far interest you at all? Piques your interest whatsoever?
Well,
maybe the Utah-Colorado State game a little bit.
That one a little bit.
Maybe the BYU-Memphis game.
Maybe.
I'm thinking South Alabama Bowling Green because it'd be nice to actually root for a Jaguar that might win.
Well, you might get to do that in a couple weeks when the Titans play on next couple Thursdays from now.
I don't know. There might be a few of these. I'll
tell you. I won't. We're getting to some bowls here soon where they're going to have some interest.
We are. Move on down the line. December the 26th, 1 o'clock, the Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl. Illinois takes on Louisiana Tech.
I can't ever forgive Louisiana Tech for Derek Dooley, so Illinois.
I like what Illinois has essentially done this year. I'm going to take the Fighting Illini.
All right, I'm going to have to go with Skip Holtz and Louisiana Tech.
Welcome to the outside. At 4:30 Eastern, the Quick Lane Bowl. This one's played in Detroit. Rutgers takes on North Carolina.
Okay, well, I think North Carolina was a team that was a little bit disappointing throughout the year. Had I wouldn't say high expectations, but they had at least some hopeful fans there well, I'm forgetting where they're at now.
Chapel Hill.
So I'm going to go. I think they actually might redeem themselves against Rutgers, North Carolina.
I had North Carolina higher rated this year than what they eventually ended up being. I thought they could be a team that would compete in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Rutgers moved to the Big Ten and actually did something, but I take North Carolina in this thing. I got to go with my preseason pick in this one.
Basketball season's underway, so I'm going to have to go with Rutgers.
Interesting.
They've forgotten about.
They've completely forgotten.
They're probably upset about their basketball start, too.
To finish off December the 26th, 8 o'clock Eastern, the Bitcoin St. Petersburg Bowl. NC State takes on UCF.
NC State versus UCF. I like NC State in this one.
This kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier with the San Diego State game. Central Florida has to play a bowl game in their own state, and I don't think it feels like a bowl game to them. NC State wins this one.
I'm going with NC State as well.
Well, I'll take the Wolfpack. Mm-hmm. Move to the 27th, 1 p.m., the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman. Cincinnati takes on Virginia Tech. By the way, this is the bowl game I have circled that has so far the best swag. Each player gets their own Xbox One.
Well, that alone, yes, is a great gift, and be worth going to this bowl. Listen, under Frank Beamer, I think Virginia Tech in the last few years have really just seemed to falter. They've kind of gone downhill. I like Cincinnati in this one.
I'm going to take the Bearcats in this one also.
Virginia Tech's got the better defense, but I feel like Cincinnati's defense is good enough to hold Virginia Tech's offense. So I'm going to have to go with Tuberville on this one as well.
So we all take Cincinnati. We move on to the 2 o'clock Eastern start. The Hyundai Sun Bowl. It's Arizona State taking on Duke out in El Paso.
And I think now we're starting to get into these bowls that could become a little more interesting. But I think this Arizona State team was gravely underrated this year. So I think they roll on this one.
Arizona State, I'm like you. I think that was a team, honestly, I thought should have been in the Pac-12 championship game instead of Arizona. They just didn't win enough games. Duke's got to travel across the country, and I don't know if Cutcliffe's team can do it out in El Paso, so I take the Sun Devils of Arizona State.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Sun Devils in this one.
Consensus there.
We move on. 3:30 kickoff on December 27th, the Duck Commander Independence Bowl. We see Miami of Florida taking on South Carolina, our first SEC team.
Can we say that there's the old ball coach? There couldn't be a better person to be in the Duck Commander Bowl, Independence Bowl, than him. So this is a straight pick 'em for me. Really, I just think these two teams have both been pretty disappointing. They started with a little bit of hype. I'm going to take South Carolina but that's a toss up for me.
I think South Carolina wins this one. I think it's very close. I'm kind of like you. This is two teams that had a lot to play for this year, and now they're playing in the Independence Bowl on the 27th, but Carolina knows what to go and do. Spurrier will get them coached up. South Carolina wins that one.
South Carolina was banged up going into that Clemson game, and they showed a little bit of resilience right there in the third quarter, I believe. And I think they having this rest up into the Miami game is going to prepare them well. So I'm going to go with the Gamecocks and the ball coach.
So now we're going chalk across the board here.
It only makes sense that Steve Spurrier wins the Duck Commander Independence Bowl.
Yes. 4:30 kickoff still on the 27th, the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. This one's up in the Bronx. Boston College against Penn State.
Well, I think that Boston College does have the edge, but I like James Franklin to get his team ready to play Penn State.
Penn State wins this one for one reason and one reason alone. Boston does not win in Yankee Stadium, so Penn State wins it.
I liked how Boston College played against Florida State a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to have to go with them.
All right, so there's a vote for Boston College.
I like how much difference we're having in these.
Yeah.
I like that.
The last game on the 27th is an 8 p.m. kick. The National University Holiday Bowl. It's Nebraska versus USC. The Holiday Bowl is usually one of these bowl games that's always fun to watch.
And I'm a fan of this matchup, too. I think we get a real juxtaposition of styles here. Obviously the smash mouth of Nebraska with the kind of just the more up-tempo electric style USC. I like USC to win this one, though. I think talent overwhelms anything that Nebraska has on the field.
Nebraska fired Bo Pelini a few weeks ago. For that reason alone, I think Nebraska's players are a little down because this was a coach that won 9 games over the past, 7 seasons. USC is fighting for their coach, Steve Sarkisian, in his first season. USC wins this one.
Like you said earlier, USC is playing in-state. I do like a couple of the players on the Nebraska team. I feel like Abdullah and Gregory are going to try to improve their draft stock a little bit, but I also think USC has a couple of good seniors on that defensive line. They're going to try to improve their draft stock, so I'm going to go with the Trojans.
Well, I do know that the only redeemable player on the Titans is a USC graduate from the defensive line, Drew Casey. So I'll be keeping my eyes on that game, too, because we could very well have another one right next to him next season.
Gotcha. Move on to December the 29th, 2 p.m., the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. It's West Virginia taking on Texas A&M, not Tennessee, as it was earlier reported. A&M's the second SEC school we find. They take on the Mountaineers.
And Texas A&M, talk about a shooting star. They were there and they flashed and got a lot of hype too soon. Kenny Hill just fell off the map. And, that team's just ready to end the season and move on to the next one. I think West Virginia takes this one.
Kenny Thrill is no more, but I like A&M still has an offensive running or a passing gun type format for their offense. I got A&M in a shootout over West Virginia.
Get your calculators out, boys. There's going to be a lot of numbers in this one. I think the X factor in this one is Myles Garrett for Texas A&M. He's a fantastic pass rusher, and I feel like A&M will edge out the Mountaineers.
Move on to the 5:30 game on December the 29th. It's the Russell Athletic Bowl in Orlando. Oklahoma takes on Clemson.
Ooh, I kind of like this matchup, too. I'm intrigued by this. Two teams that started with a lot of expectations and were pretty disappointing down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a pretty even matchup. I'm going to take Clemson in this one, though.
If Clemson still had Chad Morris as offensive coordinator in the bowl game, I take Clemson, but he's gone. He's at SMU. Therefore, Oklahoma wins this.
I am going to have to agree with Adam also. With Deshaun Watson out, they also showed flashes that they were way more consistent when they had Deshaun Watson at quarterback, and I believe he's out this game. So I'm going to have to go with the Sooners.
How far Oklahoma has fallen from a Sugar Bowl victory last year?
Get over Alabama, right?
Yeah. The last game on the 29th is a 9 p.m. kickoff. It's the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl. Arkansas takes on, essentially host, Texas.
Hey, and you know what? Arkansas is going to draw a lot of fans of this game too. I loved how Arkansas played at the end of the year. Got a couple of really big wins, and I like Arkansas to take this one.
Texas is going to be ready for this one. It's in Houston. It's essentially a home game for them. Essentially, to the point I kind of look at it. But Arkansas is going to run the ball down Texas's throat. This has an old Southwest Conference feel to it. Arkansas beats Texas.
I agree. Texas's weakness all year has been stopping the run, and that's dangerous heading into this game with the Razorbacks. I'm going to have to go with Bielema.
December the 30th, 3 p.m. kickoff. Scott, if you're at home, I would avoid Nashville. It's the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. The Golden Domers have invaded. Notre Dame takes on LSU.
And this is a great old school match, just on paper. This is fun. This is going to be great for Nashville. But I like LSU in this one. I think this one's pretty easy, handedly win for LSU.
The representatives from the Music City Bowl must have thought Christmas came early when they got LSU versus Notre Dame.
This is wonderful for them.
I mean, you got two big names like this coming to Nashville on the 29th or on the 30th. LSU will beat Notre Dame in the simple fact that Notre Dame is struggling right now, and LSU's got the speed.
There's quite a few players from Nashville on that Notre Dame roster. So I feel like it's going to be a lot closer than the people expect, but I'm going to choose LSU to come out on top at the end.
6:30 Eastern on December the 30th. It's the Belk Bowl in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Georgia Bulldogs taking on the Louisville Cardinals.
And, I think this is another game where we're seeing the SEC matched up against another conference, and the SEC is going to win in a romp. I like this Georgia team. I think they were disappointed. They had some injuries and some bad, obviously stuff that happened to Gurley, and was this a lost year for him. I think Georgia wins in a rout here.
I think Georgia's disappointed that they fell all the way to the Belk Bowl. They're coming off that loss to Georgia Tech, which was an ACC school. Louisville, Bobby Petrino comes from the SEC when he lost his job at Arkansas for playing with the volleyball team. Works his way over back to Louisville. Louisville's defensive coordinator used to be at Georgia. Everything seems to be working together. I got to pull the first upset here. Louisville over Georgia.
I'm going to have to go with the Dogs on this one. I feel like they're going to win it by a wide margin.
I think this is the game where Georgia just puts a stamp on the disappointing season and loses this one also. 10 o'clock on December the 30th. It's the final game on the 30th of December. It's the Foster Farms Bowl out in Santa Clara, California. Maryland takes on Stanford.
This Stanford team is really hard to figure out, but I just don't think the Maryland has much to offer in this game. I'm going to go with Stanford.
Stanford, I know I've taken some teams that have went against where they've been playing in their same state, but Maryland's got to travel completely across the United States. Stanford knows what to expect when they get to Santa Clara.
They're almost in their backyard.
Yeah, so really Stanford wins this one over Maryland.
Although Stanford's been struggling all year, I'm going to have to go with them against this just because I like the matchup. I don't think Maryland is going to be able to score on them.
So we all take Stanford in that one. The first big New Year's Six-Day Bowl.
This is great.
Even though it's on December the 31st. 12:30 kickoff. It's the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Ole Miss takes on TCU.
This is great. And, I really didn't know what direction to go with this one. I think TCU is going to be out to prove something. They're going to get to go up against this SEC power that was top 5 for a lot of the season. I like TCU in this one.
Ole Miss beat Alabama early on in the year. But in other big games, besides the Alabama-Mississippi State game, Ole Miss had a tendency to turn the ball over too much and put their defense in a big hole. They're missing some components, and I'm like you. TCU, they kind of had that feel going into the committee selection that we're not going to be in it. They're used to that from the BCS era when they were in the Mountain West. Chip on their shoulder, TCU knocks off Ole Miss.
I'm going to have to go and agree with you on TCU. I feel like Ole Miss's defense is on the field for way too long, and they came away with that Mississippi State win off big plays. So I'm going to have to go with TCU on this one just off sheer team speed.
We stay. Go ahead.
I think TCU has more to prove than just about anybody on this board here.
We'll stick with New Year's Eve, 4 p.m. Again, this is one of these New Year's Day 6 bowl games. It's the Vizio Fiesta Bowl. Boise State, they're the non-Power 5 that got in. They take on Arizona.
And this is a great bowl too. I think this is we really get some awesome stuff here on the New Year's Day or New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I'm going to go with Arizona in this one. I think this is probably a field goal difference here, though.
Boise pulled off one of the biggest wins probably in college football history when they upset Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl years ago. It's not going to happen this time. Arizona got embarrassed last Friday night in the Pac-12 championship. They come out and they win this. Arizona.
I'm with Adam. I feel like they got embarrassed in that championship game, and they're going to have a big chip on their shoulder, and it's in Arizona. So I'm going to have to go with Arizona in this one.
The last game on New Year's Eve is an 8 p.m. kick. It's going to be a little odd that it's the Orange Bowl and not the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl because I feel like that's always what I've watched before the ball dropped was the game in Atlanta. But nonetheless, it is the Capital One Orange Bowl. Mississippi State takes on Georgia Tech in what should be one of the best games, I believe, of the year.
You think this is going to be one?
I think this would be a really good game.
You know what? I think it will be a good game, but I think ultimately Mississippi State, they prevail in this one.
I'm with you. I think Dak Prescott is going to be too much. Again, I think this could be an offensive shootout if Mississippi State cannot control that triple option, but I've got State over Tech.
I really, really like this Georgia Tech team. Watching them play Florida State the other night, when it got toward the second half, Florida State's Dalvin Cook started putting the toll on their defense with their rushing attack. I feel like the two-headed monster down at Mississippi State and their running attack with Dak Prescott, I feel like they're going to roll them, and it's going to be Mississippi State in this one.
Brings us to our first New Year's Day bowl game. It's a noon kickoff. It's the Outback Bowl down in Tampa. Auburn takes on Wisconsin.
You know what? I really like this Wisconsin team until I watch them just absolutely get bludgeoned by Ohio State this weekend. So I think Auburn probably has a similar type impact on this game. I think Auburn rolls.
I think Wisconsin will be better prepared for Auburn. If the Auburn team that played Alabama comes out in this game, Auburn wins big. I don't think that team comes out in the Outback Bowl, but I think they do just enough. Auburn defeats Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's been good all year except against spread teams, so I'm going to have to go with Auburn on this one.
12:30 kickoff. This brings us to the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, another one of those New Year's Six bowls. Michigan State takes on the other team that felt like they got the shaft, Baylor.
Aside from the actual playoff, this is my favorite bowl. I think Michigan State and Baylor, and talk about a different just mix of styles here. I think this is a lot of like a lot of these bowls at this time of year. I think it's a coin toss, but I like Baylor.
Michigan State has traditionally had a very hard-nosed, tough defense. This year, it's not been the defense we're used to seeing. Bryce Petty wants to go out in his last game at Baylor and prove a point. Baylor wants to go out and prove a point. Baylor scores more points than Michigan State does. I got Baylor.
I'm going to agree with you guys. This is the Oregon nightmare from earlier in the season all over again for them.
So you're going to take Baylor on that one as well?
Yes.
1 p.m. kick. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it is the same type of team.
The 1 p.m. kick is the Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl. And I think Citrus Bowl, this is not the type of matchup I expect. But we do have two top-notch teams that were been in the rank in the top 25. You have Missouri against Minnesota.
I'm very off-put by the name Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl. It
doesn't roll.
It's just a really weird. It's just a weird, very weird thing for me. I like Missouri in this one though.
Not been a fan of Missouri all year. I think they've been a little weak. Therefore, Minnesota. Jerry Kill gets a Citrus Bowl trophy. I've got the Golden Gophers.
I feel like the Gophers are underrated as well. I'm going to take Minnesota.
We're going to skip the semifinal games.
Skip those, right?
We're going to skip the semifinal games to the very end. We're going to work our way down to January 2nd at noon. The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Houston takes on Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, don't know anything about this Houston team, so I like Pittsburgh for that reason alone.
Oh, boy. It's in Fort Worth. Houston's in their same state. Pittsburgh's had to travel. I'm kind of like you. I really don't know much about either one of these teams. It's a coin toss. Who did you take?
I took Pittsburgh.
And I'll take Houston.
There you go. I like that.
Pittsburgh has the monster running game, and I feel like they're going to control the clock. And I feel like their defense is good enough to hold Houston.
So what you're saying is my pick's wrong. You're the only
That's
one that did
your opinion.
research for this game.
I did not do research.
He just watches more college football than me.
Yeah.
You know that's one of the sports I follow the least. College football. Follow way more NFL, NBA, all that good stuff.
3:20 kick on January 2nd. It's the Tax Slayer Bowl, better known as the Gator Bowl. It's Iowa taking on Tennessee down in Jacksonville. I find it a little odd that my Vols are playing in Jacksonville. They could have a pool party with the Jags.
They could. I think by that, I mean the Jags are already just scouting. They're not even really worried about their season anymore at this point. I think I'm going to go with Tennessee. I like the Vols in this game.
I may be a homer, but I'm taking the Vols.
I'm taking the Vols. No explanation required.
Yeah, I think at this point I think they're going to play well against Iowa, but at the same time, it's almost like a homers type thing. You have to take Tennessee.
Well, I thought about also just because we're all Vols fans, we should have tried to put a reverse jinx on it and picked Iowa. I feel like now I'm not going to do that.
I can't.
It's too late now.
Both teams are banged up quite a bit.
I can't take Iowa.
I think Tennessee's more talented.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're happier they're in a bowl game right now.
Yeah, I agree.
In the fact that it's not the Liberty Bowl.
They got to get out of the state.
Exactly. 6:45 that night on January 2nd, it's the Valero Alamo Bowl. Kansas State takes on UCLA.
And this is the only one after the playoff bowls that I actually kind of like. I kind of like this bowl a lot. I like UCLA in this one.
It's in San Antonio. Remember the Alamo. Bill Snyder was there. Kansas State knocks off UCLA.
I'm going to have to go with K-State in this one, just simply the fact that Brett Hundley is very inconsistent when it comes to tough defenses.
Which is another one of my preseason picks. I had UCLA in the Final Four, and I had Brett Hundley winning the Heisman
Yeah,
Trophy.
you were way, but you were like front and center on the UCLA bandwagon.
I drank a lot of blue Kool-Aid in August. I did.
They had gotten them really hyped up preseason. They just did not live up to it.
The last game on January 2nd starts at 10:15 Eastern. It's the Ticket City Cactus Bowl out in Tempe. Washington takes on Oklahoma State.
I haven't seen much of this Washington team, but I know that Oklahoma State is disappointed. I'm going to go with Washington.
It's in Tempe. Oklahoma State played there a couple years ago in the Fiesta Bowl. They just got bowl eligible with the victory over Oklahoma. I got the Cowboys defeating the Huskies.
Oklahoma State is the hot team right now, just coming off a big win over the rival Sooners. But I'm going to have to go with UW.
Wow.
Washington.
They're going to leave me in the Cowboy bandwagon there.
You're all alone.
January 3rd, 1 p.m. It's the Birmingham Bowl. East Carolina takes on Florida.
You know what? Say what you will. These guys love Muschamp, right?
It was, yeah.
I always get Munchak and Muschamp. So Muschamp, they loved him. So they're going to try to send him out with a victory. I think that Florida rolls in this one.
Well, I'm going to trump you on that. Muschamp's not coaching the bowl game.
Well, too bad. They're going to want to send him out in his last season. They're still going to want to get a win for him.
He's not there. They've already got the coach. I'm afraid he's going to try to start maybe putting a few more of his wrinkles in before with the interim coach. East Carolina would much rather play in the Birmingham Bowl. Florida looks at this as a slap in the face. East Carolina, they pirate their way through the victory.
I'm going to have to go with the upset and Coach Ruffin and the Pirates in this one.
January 4th, 9 p.m., it's the GoDaddy Bowl. Who wins it? It's a triple threat. Danica Patrick, Toledo, or Arkansas State?
Well, Danica Patrick always wins in that situation, but we got to pick between the two teams, so I go Toledo.
I don't think Danica has a shot in this one. I still take Toledo.
Arkansas State.
You took a guess, didn't you?
It doesn't even matter.
Come on. I do not know a thing about either two of these schools.
That brings us back to the college football playoff. On January 1st, 5 p.m., the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Number 3, Florida State, the defending national champions, the only undefeated team left in the FBS, takes on Marcus Mariota and number 2, Oregon.
Florida State, I can't figure out this team whether they really are the best team in the country and they're just getting they're just deciding to turn it on late, or if they get lucky. Who knows? You could talk yourself blue in the face about this Florida State team. Oregon has just looked like world beaters for the past 5 or 6 weeks.
Yes.
They've officially beat everybody on their schedule, and they just took out that looked like they were wanting to get some payback against Arizona in the Pac-12 championship. I think this is where all the Florida States just their good fortune comes to an end. I think it gets hit by a train, and that is Oregon. Oregon wins this one.
Marcus Mariota's already won the Heisman Trophy by this point. Oregon is a Pac-12 team. Before the playoffs come about, a Pac-12 champion played where? The Rose Bowl. So Oregon already knew they were going to the Rose Bowl. Oregon has too much speed for Florida State to keep up with. If they thought Georgia Tech was a problem, they've not seen anything yet. Oregon wins this by at least 2 touchdowns.
You guys have already stated all the facts. Florida State's not looked good as of late, and Oregon has looked unstoppable. So I'll be surprised if the Ducks don't win by more than 2 touchdowns.
There you go.
And Vegas agrees with us. They're a 9-point favorite in Vegas.
The other semifinal game on January 1st, 5 p.m. The 8:30 p.m. The All-State Sugar Bowl. Number 4 Ohio State takes on top seed and number 1 Alabama down in the Sugar Bowl.
Listen, I think this is a great story, and if Urban Meyer, as much as I don't like the guy, if he doesn't win Coach of the Year, I think the guy at TCU will probably get it. But you're talking about this is their third-string quarterback. Once their first quarterback went down, I can't even remember his name now at this point.
Braxton Miller.
Once he went down, they were expected the season was done.
We wrote him off.
Everybody wrote him off. They were wrote off again, and then they destroy Wisconsin. So they're a great story. But the third-string Cordell Jones – Nick Saban's going to get 3 weeks to scout Cordell Jones and lay the game plan in place. He's the best. He's the Bill Belichick of college football. He's a mastermind. This is where that run ends for Ohio State. It was fun. Congratulations to them. They deserve that spot in the Final Four, but I think Alabama wins this one handily.
Urban Meyer gets the same amount of time to prepare for Alabama. He's got a third-string quarterback that within only 1 week of practice with the first team destroyed a Wisconsin defense that was number 2 in the nation. Now you're giving Urban Meyer more time to prepare for an Alabama squad with a Lane Kiffin run offense that at times has not looked good. But Alabama's playing in the Sugar Bowl. And like you said, Saban's got all this time. He knows what happened there last year. He had all that time again and got embarrassed by Oklahoma. This year he's got something to play for. They got to play for that big lipstick too. They beat Ohio State. Alabama wins this.
Alabama wins this, I think, pretty handily. Do you guys think it's a different game if they had Braxton Miller in it?
I think
it's a different game if J.T. Barrett's in it.
J.T. Barrett was electric. He was fun. I don't know. I didn't see enough of Cordell Jones, and the game just seemed so one-sided. I don't even think Cordell Jones really mattered, right, in that Wisconsin game.
But now he's got 3 weeks prepared with the first team.
Well, the thing to offset your Lane Kiffin point is Saban controls every aspect of that team.
I'm aware that he does.
And, I mean, in Kiffin, he's the offensive coordinator. I understand that. But in a heartbeat, Saban will take that over. He knows he's a mastermind. He's obsessing. He's probably sleeping 4 hours a day for the next whatever until that game, 3 weeks. I just think that he's the best game plan. And trust me, I don't ever have anything good to say about Urban Meyer, but the coaching job he did with that program this year was incredible. To lose 2 different guys, 2 different studs. J.T. Barrett was a Heisman candidate, and Braxton Miller certainly was before he got hurt, a Heisman hopeful.
He may be transferring.
They're saying he's going to transfer to Oregon. Have you heard that rumor?
I have heard that rumor.
That he's going to transfer to Oregon if Marcus Mariota decides to go to the draft?
So that brings us to our national championship. January 12th, 8:30, down in Jerry World, down in Arlington, Texas. Let's just call it Dallas. It's Dallas. We both have number 2 Oregon taking on number 1 Alabama. It's the Pac-12 against the Southeastern Conference.
And this is the championship we want and the championship we need for this bowl, to get this bowl going. You know what? And you could go for forever on this, but I'm just going to – I don't feel good. I could probably go back and forth on this pick a million times just because of how good at different times both these teams have looked and how unbeatable. But I just think that Alabama's the more battle-tested team. The Pac-12 probably is the second best conference in all of football. I mean, it's probably not much arguing that. And if you ask me tomorrow, I might say Oregon. You ask me the next day, I might say Alabama. But right now, my heart and my gut says Alabama. And I've been telling you this since week 5 of the college football season.
You have. I think if we had Florida State and Ohio State in the national championship, we all feel a little cheated. It has to be Oregon, Alabama. I believe Oregon was here a few years ago and saw Auburn and came within a field goal of winning that national title. I think they're a tougher team now. I think Marcus Mariota has matured a lot as a quarterback. don't get me wrong, Alabama has been very well tested across the Southeastern Conference in just about every game they've been in. They played a better non-conference schedule, but Oregon played Michigan State in the non-conference to go against Alabama's playing West Virginia. I think Marcus Mariota, the Heisman Trophy winner projected that'll be announced this Saturday, I think he's the X factor here. I think he has too much speed. Oregon lost to Auburn by a field goal. They get their chance back. They beat Alabama by a field goal. I've got Oregon winning the national title.
My heart is telling me Oregon, but my mind is telling me Alabama. I feel like the speed of Reggie Ragland and DePriest on Alabama's defense is something that Mariota and the rest of that offense hasn't been used to this year. And I also feel like Ifru Akaminu, the opposite corner on Oregon's team, is going to have a tough time, whoever's opposite of Cooper, whether that's White or O.J. Howard. I feel like he's been struggling all year, and that's going to be the deciding factor when it comes to the Tide winning this one in a very close game.
And it is the one we want and need, right? It's
yes.
But nobody can guard Amari Cooper. He just.
They're going to have to double him, and that's why I pointed out that the opposite corner is going to be
because he's not going to have safety help.
Mm-mm.
So you're talking about a one-on-one guy.
They're going to be running wheel routes, brush routes,
and Sims. I think
Sluggos on that other side. It's going to be a fun game to watch. That's for sure.
And I think Sims has shown. He had his blips. He had his stuff. He had that one game, the Auburn game. I think he had 3 interceptions.
Was getting ready to get pulled.
He was getting ready to get pulled, and then he comes in and lights it up. I think he's had his moments, but I think he is not the prototypical Alabama quarterback. He can move. He's a dynamic playmaker. Got a great arm. He's a lot different than the guys they've had in the past. I think I will feel a little cheated. Obviously, whoever earns their spot in that national championship game deserves it. But I think as a fan, I'll feel like a little cheated if it's not these two exactly.
I'm kind of surprised, as the SEC homer that I am, I'm the only person who took Oregon.
No, you could go either way.
You can.
I'd sit there. I could talk myself around circles around this one.
I don't know.
Because Oregon has looked unbeatable at times.
They have. And Alabama's has seen quarterbacks like Mariota. I mean, they played Dak Prescott at Mississippi State, so they kind of know what's coming.
But Dak Prescott is a poor man's Mariota.
Yeah, I understand it, but he's that mobile-type quarterback that they'll be seeing with Oregon.
I try to find the weaknesses in this Alabama team, and
there's just none.
The only thing I can take up from the Ole Miss game is when a defense puts 4 down linemen down and does not have to blitz, and they can make Blake Sims be accurate.
Yeah, that changes it, obviously.
Instead of having to help him off play action with that great run game they have. 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 That great run